5 minutes and 2.5, whatever. We'll just.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, Chair, I want to start by recognizing that last year it was 185,000 square kilometers of wildfires across the country. That, along with flooding and all the rest of what we're experiencing of the climate crisis right now, that is reflective of a 1.1 degree rise in global average temperatures. We're on track for a 3.2 degree rise by the year 2100. And so what I've heard from the executives who've joined us this morning is that there's no need for an emissions cap. There's no need for a windfall tax on their excess profits. There's no need for any regulation. They've got it all covered. When, as we heard from Mr. Van Krugerden, their emissions are rising considerably on an absolute basis as well as a per barrel basis. Mr. Kruger, my question is for you. You personally made over almost $37 million last year. Your company made $9 billion in profit in 2022. You've said, these are quotes, I very much believe in making money. We are in the business to make money and as much of it as possible. You've also said you're concerned that, quote, we have a bit of a disproportionate emphasis on the longer term energy transition. My question for you is not a rhetorical one. If you could leave a message, like a time capsule recording for Canadians living in the year 2100 who are living in the midst of climate catastrophe, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, I joined this company at a time when employees and contractors were getting hurt and that the company was grossly underperforming. And so my mission was to come and ensure people are safe each and every day and that we could perform up to the standards of our shareholders and, quite frankly, the province and the federal government. So the premise behind a company being profitable so that it can afford to invest, including in decarbonization, I stand by my words. I believe everything I've said before. It's not one or the other, it's both. If you have an unprofitable sector, we can't invest in decarbonization or in decarbonization. And what the climate will do is we'll get the climate from whatever happens in the rest of the world. I think Canada can and should be a part of that solution. I'm betting on Canadians and Canadian companies to do that. So my message in 2100 will be bet on Canadians, bet on Canada, and put us to work to be part of the solution.
Sorry, to be clear, the question was what you'd say to them in 2100 as we're in the midst of the climate catastrophe that your emissions are leading us towards. I'll also note we had 6 workers from Suncor die since 2020 when it comes to the safety of the workplace. Maybe I'll offer the question to Mr. Corson. Mr. Corson, of course, significant concerns about the practices of your company with respect to the Athabasca River, but I'll offer the same. If you were to make a comment to Canadians in 2100, what would you say to them in the midst of climate catastrophe?
Well, I would hope that those citizens would be reflecting back on the prior 100 years, and they would be proud of the actions that industry took in collaboration with the federal government and the provincial government to both decarbonize, but at the same time, grow the economy and the standard.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Corson. Let me ask you the question directly in terms of the pride that Canadians will feel in the year 2100. Yes or no, do you support an excess profit tax on the profits of your company? Of the profits above $1 billion, say a 15% tax on the profits above $1 billion. Do you support that?
No.
Great. Do you support an emissions cap?
No.
Do you support any additional regulatory measures from the Government of Canada at a time when your industry's emissions are going up, yes or no?
We have sufficient regulatory framework in place to continue to drive emissions.
Well, I think that's the time capsule
down.
right there. Let's put that in and let's leave that for Canadians in 2100. I think what this demonstrates is it's going to be up to parliamentarians around this table to come together to find some kind of solutions, because I think we're hearing very clearly that the solutions are not going to come from the CEOs who've appeared at witnesses this afternoon.
I think you just need to judge us by our actions, and you'll see continued reductions in our emissions. That's what we're working towards every day.
I'm judging you by the actions with respect to the Athabasca River. I think the police should be judging those actions.
We've had no impact on the Athabasca River, just to be very clear.
Et Monsieur Morris, il vous reste 5 secondes.
Monsieur Morris,
Thank you, Chair.
OK.